Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our 4 p.m. report after show, aka Thirsty Thursday. Susan and I are back reunited this week. Well, reunited from afar, but reunited.
Virtually.
Hi, Susan.
Hi. We've dispensed with the cocktail this week.
Yeah, I have water. Not that exciting.
Me too. So sad, Will. Look what we've sunk to.
I know. Well, hopefully next week we can reunite in the backyard and do up a proper cocktail. But let's talk first of all about the whole reason we started the 4 p.m. report after show really was to talk a little bit about our podcast, the 4 a.m. report that goes out every Thursday at 4 a.m. It was the second of a two-parter. Last week we introduced the concept of the Kolbe system, where it's an aptitude or a test of sorts that shows you how you are quick to take action. Are you a researcher? Are you more an ideas person? Are you more organized type A? And they don't use these terms specifically, but it's a really neat test, and our whole team benefited from it because it really does help with team dynamics and finding your zone of genius. So this week we spoke to an executive who actually uses Kolbe on her team. And it's an awesome episode. It's Meredith Malloch was the guest. She is insightful and quite charming. She's quite funny too. So you want to give that a listen to hear how one leader uses Kolbe to really keep her team motivated and organized and stay in the course. So check that out. We'll put the link to the comments below.
Yeah, honestly, that there was one part of it, Will, where she talked about presenting information to people based on their Kolbe, and like if they really are the type that need to see a lot of the research that went behind it, or if they're like, quickly tell me all the background, but tell me the plan right now. It's so insightful, like how you have success in projects, in conversations, in whatever, once you understand who you're talking to, right?
Right, yeah. So now let's move on to the things that are thirsty out there, the things that we're thirsty for. Susan, you had a story about plagiarism, I think it was, right?
Yeah, I think that ever since we've all been, a decade of being online and people creating different things online, there's always the issue of plagiarism. And plagiarism is a gray area. There is one side of thinking which is very like, we all there's no new ideas. Everyone's absorbing information all the time, and you're sort of like recrafting that information in your head and putting it out there. So as far as original thought is concerned, I guess just saying this was someone's idea, that time has passed. Now it's much more in that space where you're like, some stuff is complimentary, but then some stuff is straight up rip off, right? Like, so this past week, there was a situation, I won't go into a whole lot of detail, but it was an executive who was talking about a change in profile image from being very formal and, let's say, finance-like to being like hoodie and chilled out. And unlike most of the stuff that happens out there, which is like, this is a challenge, let's all do it kind of image, this person was just sharing her own personal story. And then a few days later, somebody else did the exact same things down to like the words. And one of the LinkedIn influencers called her out saying, hey, this is a straight up ripoff, and you should be giving credit to the original creator of this thought. So this got us started on a chat about like, what is plagiarism? Like, I mean, how do you define it? Like, who owns a thought? Is there any real line?
Yeah, very interesting. It's like you said, with everything out there already, it's hard to, you might have a thought, or you're like, did I hear that somewhere else before? That's a really cool title. Why has no one used it? I find I'm always second guessing myself, like, what influenced me on this? Is it just influence, or have I somehow accidentally ripped someone off?
I know, right? And you had a really good Alan Gannett reference and the announcement of our book club at this point.
Yes, so we're reading Alan Gannett's book, The Creative Curve. So join us if you want to. You should. It's fun. And I watched, it was, I don't know if it's in his book, but he was doing a talk of sorts. And he was talking about how this is the idea behind like the whole creative genius. Are you born with it? That sort of thing. And Paul McCartney, who's written so many #1 songs, woke up one morning with a great tune in his head. And he was humming it, and he's like, this can't be an original. I can't have just written this. It's too good to be true. Somebody else already must have written this. So he was going around humming the tune to all these people trying to find out. And I think people that were like, dude,
So humble,
you're just a creative genius. You really have come up with something original. And the song was Yesterday. So yeah, that's a pretty neat story.
Yeah. So there's, there's deep humility where you think you didn't create it. And then there's straight up plagiarism, which is what we're doing in 2020.
Yeah.
So you had a few cool.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to talk about my own personal thirst again, my thirst journey. Last week I talked, when you were away, I spoke to Megan about this sense of guilt I'm feeling a lot. And this week, what I'm looking for, Susan, is a bit of escapism, a bit of, I think I need to be able to figure out a way to step away from the laptop and the phone and the desk where I sit. Because right now I wake up, roll out of bed, sit down, open my, there's no morning ritual. There's no end of the day ritual. And I know as the weather's going to get colder, I'm going to be hoveled up here in this condo more and more. So here's a challenge I'm going to do. And I want you to try to, call me out on it if you think I'm not doing it. I'm going to try to create a morning ritual, Susan, where I wake up, I don't open my laptop until I actually sit down to start working at 9. And that means not checking phone emails. So if there's an emergency, by all means, phone me. But
this is ambitious. Well done.
But I'm going to, and what I'm going to do with that, because I'm not a 5 or 6 a.m. person like you. What will happen is I'm going to get up at 7:30, shower, have my coffee, and then I'm either going to go for a walk. I'm either going to clean things that I should have cleaned in the house, straighten things, maybe make lists of things I want to do, maybe like anything except work is basically what I'm going to do. I'm not going to go on
watch the news.
No, I'm not going to go on any screen. I need to take breaks from the news too right now. Like I'm stopping all my political podcasts. I've stopped watching the Newsnet. I'm not going on Twitter. I'm kind of just at a breaking point with all of this kind of information. I'm going to go on walks without my phone. I'm really going to try to work a 9 to 6. And then when that 6 hits, I'm going to shut the laptop and not look at phone. I might watch TV, but I'm really going to try to get into this to create some kind of rhythm to my day. And also this cluttering, overwhelming burnout. I'm starting to feel it again. And I think a lot of people are. I spoke to a lot of friends who are also in the same boat. So that's what I'm going to try. Call me out on it if you think I'm failing at it.
Yeah, I think that's smart. Get ahead of the burnout.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the last thing I was going to talk quickly was, I'm interested about this one thing. So with these film festivals, the Inside Out Film Festival, the Toronto Film Festival, all the glitz and glam and all that extra stuff was gone this year. People could buy a package and watch movies from home. And Inside Out is actually doing drive-ins, but a lot of people in cities where festivals are don't have cars. So that's that. But it made me think that as much as there's people losing out on revenue all over the place, these festivals have had to go back to really what they really were at their core and make sure that they're keeping those core customers, those relationships strong right now until they figure out what to do. And I think that's a nice little metaphor for everyone. Don't look at this as like, oh God, all our big plans, la, la, la.
All is
lost. Go in on that core that made you who you are, that's your fans, that follows you, that supports you. And let's keep that core happy. Cinephiles don't care about the glitz and glam. They want the movies. And so making sure they can watch those movies, and I think that's a really interesting parallel for us all to make with our business if we are struggling right now. That core relationship that we forge, like let's really focus on keeping that happy, and then we'll have them there when we want to grow again. So anyways, we're running short on time.
I like that.
Yeah, so running short on time. So you go ahead and talk about what you were going to talk about next.
Yeah, so the last of it was just really to be like, we've been really getting focused in on some of the last 2 weeks we talked about Kolbe and identifying your zone of genius. And one of the things that makes us happy is discovering thirst, right? As evidenced by Thirsty Thirst. So we're trying to put on our little, what shall we say, investigative journalism of complete fluff into play. And one of the things we do is we make a monthly digest. It's a newsletter of sorts, and we try to keep it interesting. There's a few things in it that are fun and keep our people from unsubscribing. But one of the things in it is we talk about shit we think is cool. And every one of our team members sort of takes this, even the least likely to engage of our team members will take it upon themselves to send us things which are cool. So we've had all kinds of things on that list, which make us discover new things, try new things as a team. And I think there's wider value. So that kind of thing interests you, you should sign up for our digest. It's on the put the link, comment below link, right? Yeah.
Okay, thanks. We're out of time. Susan, it was lovely seeing you again. Next week, I promise, alcohol, you, me, Mitrin, backyard. Yes.
Yep. No more water.
Okay, bye everybody.